Eyes upon the screen. All right, so check this out. Fast from indifference to others, feast on love. So it's Lent. Happy Lent, everybody. So this is the time in the church calendar. This is the season of the church where Mardi Gras just happened on Tuesday, right? Also known as Shrove Tuesday. And then yesterday was Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of Lent. And Lent is that time in the life of the church where we become more reflective and we might engage in some sort of discipline so that we can really kind of reflect more and think more about how we can be more sort of dedicated to God. Maybe we want to study something. We want to try to be more sort of just aware of what's happening, right? And so one of the things that a lot of people do, especially on Ash Wednesday, and a lot of people do this for all of Lent, is they will fast, which means that they go on a diet, right? So maybe they fast from eating a lot of sweets, maybe they fast from eating red meat, maybe they fast from alcohol or whatever else, right? So people will take on that as a discipline, which then kind of reminds them of their humanity and suffering and all that good kind of stuff. So Pope Francis, I think Pope Francis is kind of a rock star. He says, what I like about Pope Francis is he says things. He doesn't just say things to advance himself, but he speaks truth in a way that resonates with me, and I think resonates with a lot of people. So this is what he has to say this week about Lent and about going into Lent and about Lenten disciplines and fasting. And this popped up in my Facebook feed. It was a great little story. So I want to share some of this with you tonight. So he goes on to talk about fasting, and he says this: no act or virtue can be great if it's not followed by advantage for others. That's kind of cool. So no matter how much time you spend fasting, if you do no good to others, you do nothing great. And then he goes on to say, and he speaks about what he calls the globalization of indifference. And he says this: whenever our interior life becomes caught up in its own interest and concerns, there's no longer room for others. God's voice is no longer heard. The quiet joy of love is no longer felt. And the desire to do good fades. And he goes on with one more line. If I can get my phone to work. He says, we end up being incapable of feeling compassion for other people's pain and feeling a need to help, as though all this were someone else's responsibility and not our own. And that really resonates with me a lot, right? So this season right now of Lent, these next 40 days, let's all consider not just taking on a fast that becomes just a personal thing for us, but let's take on something that really has an impact on others. So simply this. Let's think about a fast that changes the heart. And in that, then, that creates room for a proper feast. So simply this. Fast from indifference to others. Make room to feast on love. Amen, amen.